We've all been there, you're locked in combat, and going around the table sounds something like this.
It's a D6, so whenever you use normal logic to deal with wizard ridiculousness, you add your D6
and I'm gonna grab my bag of all.
I mean, come on, combat should feel like combat. Your players' literal lives are at stake, so let's talk about 5 things that you can do in your next game to take your combat from this...
Okay, roll to hit.
17?
...to this.
Arrow flies what should have been center mass.
First up, inject tension. Make the stakes high. What are your characters trying to achieve, and what will happen if they fail? Will their plans be foiled, or is it something even more dire? Make sure everyone's on the same page about why this fight matters on a story level. The more important, the more engaged they will be. For example, fighting in a dungeon is one thing, fighting in a collapsing dungeon is another. That extra level of stakes will wake your players up and make them listen. Second, use varying enemy types. No one wants to fight the same monster over and over again. Mix up your encounters with different types of monsters, or have a few weaker ones in front of a more powerful bad guy. Include mini-bosses and bosses that require special strategies to defeat them. Your players will be more engaged thinking about how to take down the big baddie. Remember to think like the enemy too. If they are guards, they probably can and will use basic tactics like formations and flanking maneuvers, where a mindless beast might attack until it thinks it will lose, in which case it'll probably just run to preserve itself. Third, change the environment. When your players are in a fight for their lives, much of the tension comes from not being sure what will happen next. Throw them a few curveballs, use stages and waves to create interesting scenarios. Maybe you can start off with a smaller batch of numbers attacking from the left, followed by ground collapsing after a few rounds, and then the commander shows up with reinforcements. This creates a sense of unpredictability and uncertainty that will keep your players on the edge of their seat. Fourth, this one will sound weird, but something that helps me is to think of the movie version of what's happening in your head. See the scenes, visualize them, what are the sounds and smells you're thinking of? Now explain those things to your players. Tell them about the rushing sound of voices as the walls are breached, the smell of the fire, the stench of decay, the color of the red and orange flames against the black-blue of the night sky. Using language is the key to making your combat more interesting because unlike a video game, this is an immersive story, and it relies on you, the storyteller, so use visual language and lots of energy. Last but not least, don't be afraid to speed things up. You don't have to spend hours in a fight if the players are doing well and the dice are their friend. If you can wrap it up quickly and get back to the story, that's great. Remember, most creatures or people will run to fight another day rather than fight to the death. Fighting on when the fight is lost doesn't make sense unless they have no other choice. So keep things short and simple and leave the long hours of combat to the fights that need it. Try these out and your next combat session is sure to be much more epic. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thank you so much for watching. Forge on, my friends, and we'll see you next time, adventurers.